Hey everyone, I'm Erin Saxton, that girl from Jersey, and I don't want to brag, but you're in for a treat today because I've got my best friend here in the studio. Her name is Jennifer Urezzio, for those who are keeping track, and she is the creator and the founder of a company called Soul Language, and she has this really awesome explanation as to what that is, and I'm just going to have her talk about it because it won't really... For all those non-evolved souls, we're still going to need some explanation. It's good. Hang in there. Jen, welcome to the show.
Yay! I'm so excited to be here.
Hello!
I'm so excited.
So we're going to get back to how we know each other and how we're friends, but first explain soul language to people. But not in so much of a way where we can't...
Without the metaphysical mumbo jumbo?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what soul language does is it puts words around your essential nature, the internal landscape, your deepest, darkest core of who you are. So you can have conscious communication. So you can be clear with yourself, others, your business, and in relationships. Because when you know your truth, it's easier to express it. And you operate less from pain or pattern or experience and more from that knowing of who you are. And you receive from that rather than trying to play the game or fit in a box that's not you.
So it's all just trying to figure out who you are and why you're here, and then a language in which you figure out what to do with what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and there's no supposed to's, right? You're always doing what you're supposed to do.
Duly noted.
But, I mean, because people judge themselves about that damn purpose, you know? Like, why am I here? You're doing it. Stop freaking out. But it puts tangibility around that so people can really connect. Those people that are longing or searching or knows that there's something bigger inside of them, soul language supports that. So you can actually tune in. It's like a map of your internal workings. So you don't feel as lost. So you're connected. So you can make conscious choices. So you know where you are at every step of the game and what to do next.
Why'd you call it soul language?
Because... Well, I could tell you the real reason, but that's metaphysical mumbo jumbo.
I'll take it.
Well, God told me to, but you know.
God told me to have a cheeseburger for lunch.
God, I would like that too.
Just saying.
So I think I call it soul language because I was really asking some big questions about my soul and about how to communicate and how to be happy. You know, I know you're going to laugh at this, Erin.
Never.
But I was really angry.
She was so bitter, like something you were really...
I was angry.
I know.
I was forced all of my life to kind of put like me in this box, and I was never really accepted for like that essential nature.
But let's unpack it a bit.
Yeah.
What do you tell everybody what you mean by anger? Like, I know.
So I had a lot of warrior energy, right? So I would go, can you pass that pen in corporate America? And they'd be like, why are you so aggressive? I'd be like, really? Because I just asked for a pen. And I had this ability, which I still do, of like seeing through the facade of people. And I had no filters. None. And I would just tell it like it is.
I'm sorry. None.
I
was working with Jen after I left The View, and we'd be in these meetings. And sure enough, she would innocently ask for something, but it was almost like, pass the pen, you jerk!
It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad.
So understanding my soul language, understanding that inner working allowed me to really accept that. And now I get paid for being my essential nature, helping people understand their truth. I get paid for my courage. I get paid for telling people the truth. And it's kind of bliss. And it's resulted in me being a lot less angry because I'm a lot less judging myself all the time.
Right. So do we all have different languages? Like, walk me through what soul language is.
Sure. So you have there's 107 core energies of soul.
107?
Yes.
Who came up with that?
Again, me.
So, have a drink.
So we each...
It's good stuff. I like it.
So we each have three. So you have...
3 languages.
Yes. So
okay.
You speak one language in 3 different categories. Your mission, how you fuel that mission, and then your soulful personality, how your soul prefers to go through life.
Can we like walk them through like maybe me?
Yeah. So your mission here is called master. Nope, that's a lie. I'm sorry. Your mission here is called...
She's lying already on the show. This is disgusting.
Your mission is called mentor. So you are always willing to mentor the best in everyone. That's top line when you're in your zone. You're mentoring, you're getting mentored. I wish you guys could see like beyond the cameras because there's 16 people here, which is great, which says that as you're mentoring someone, you're also receiving mentorship. The flip side or the struggle or the pain of that is that you can do it all, that no one else can support you, that I'm good even though you have tons of packages and you can't open the door, that's the flip side.
And you're using this based on, because we've been friends for a zillion years.
We identified them.
So normally there's a process that people have, like a little, not a little, but like, there's a process to identify. So we're just cutting to the chase because you know me so well.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Keep going.
And so then your second category, how you'll be known, is called the master. Watch your face, everyone. Right? Master. You see the big picture of everything, right? Yeah. And you're really great with the big picture. You can do the details, but you hate doing the details.
I actually don't even do them anymore.
Right. Because you moved on and you evolved and you're doing your strengths. Mm. Now, your tone, how you prefer to go through life with you and Eric, also share your son, is called intellect. So you have this ability, you prefer to see the heart of everything and the logic of everything, and you meld them together. Mm. I am nothing like you.
I know.
Which is crazy that we're so close, right? So my mission is it's called the equalizer. It's all about creating the perfect formula of balance for myself and others. Another reason why I was miserable, I wasn't in balance. Mm. I was pushing too hard. I didn't listen to myself. I wasn't doing self-care. Really cranky, right? How I'll be known here is called teacher of integrity. Mm. All of my life, you can see where people are out of integrity. When I was younger, didn't do that very well about offering the opportunity to get back into that consciousness of love, right? Now I do it much better. And then my soulful personality is called graceful warrior, action, movement, courage, and grace. So I'm always going to be lovingly now pushing people towards that courage, pushing them towards that stretching. And I do things very fast. I can get more things done 15 minutes than more people can do all day long.
It's true. It's overwhelming to me.
Right. That's because of that warrior nature. Like I'm just really action oriented. But when you work with those strengths, then you become this unstoppable freight train. When I was not working with that, when I was judging myself, when I felt separate, when I felt alone, then all of the unconscious, right? Making war with everything, not being in integrity with myself, being out of balance is what's being expressed in everything I do.
And I think a lot of people go through that just without knowing their languages because, so when you and I were in the workplace, so we met each other at The View when I was a TV producer at The View, and we'll talk about that in a second. But we'd get into the corporate environment and somebody, and we all know it, like that person shows up in a meeting. There's always that guy or that girl, and she hasn't done her work. She's just BSing her way through it. She's an Eeyore, or she piggybacks on somebody else's idea. And I cringe inside when these people, but I'm a velvet steamroller of sorts in corporate America, they call me, which means I will crush you, but with a hug. And, we'll get to the truth. But you, before you realized any of these languages, you would, in my translation of it, and I say this because I think there's a lot of people out there, is that you can spot somebody, you're just calling bullshit. And what do you do with that then, right? And so you're sitting in a conference room, and those are the people that always get the raises, right? Those are the people that are getting the promotions. They're not even sleeping with the boss.
No.
And they're getting those promotions. Right. Drives me bonkers, right? So, but it drives a soul language like you, or a person like you with pre-identifying your languages. It's almost like a code, a manual of here's what I would do.
Exactly.
You're this, this, and this. We all love those like magazine quizzes, like who's your perfect relationship or whatever. So essentially what I think to be, and I'm very familiar with it. Of course, I'm asking some obvious questions because I want everybody to tag along here. But picture like you take this fun magazine quiz, which is more important than what, you're doing, more important than the magazine quiz.
Yeah.
But, logistically, you take it, you figure out what it is, or they talk to you, or talk to a practitioner of yours, and you figure out how you navigate life, and then you figure out how you want it to be, and then how those conversations go. So next time you see a total imposter, in the boardroom.
I don't take it personally anymore. I
Right.
don't take it as an affront. I don't have to solve their problem. I don't need to point it out.
And you realize now, I think what people didn't realize is when you were a little combative in these meetings was that you thought, I'm being paid to be here by you, mister.
Right.
And so how can I not
Do the best job I can if you don't know the truth.
And if I let this person bullshit us,
yeah.
then I'm now stealing from you, sir, because this meeting has no validation.
Exactly.
But instead of saying all of that,
I just
you said, pass the pen!
right. Or I would say it right. I would tell it right out of the gate.
Right.
And also being not like conscious of my own energy, not feeling whole and complete, not loving myself, also would create this friction. And so anyone who was out of integrity or anyone who felt a little bit out of place, they would feel that even on a subconscious level, and they would go in for the attack. So anyone who was really out of integrity, didn't want to work on it, would be like, oh, every word that you say is like scratching on a glass, where that wasn't true at all. Like, I never really wanted, like, my biggest thing was I never get when people are mean to anyone, right? I really seriously don't get that. So my thing was always helping. It took me years in really understanding my internal makeup to become the steel marshmallow that I am, to use that pass the butter voice.
She said steel marshmallow.
Yes.
By the way. Did you notice this? Walk me through what a steel marshmallow is.
So really tough on the outside, really gooey on the inside. In other words, right, I can say, oh, Erin, I love you, but you can go fuck yourself. And you would never know because I'm using my steel marshmallow and my pass the butter voice.
Sounds passive aggressive to me.
It's actually not, because I have no agenda. Meaning I am just encoding it now in a way that people have a chance to hear it if they choose to, rather than trying to shove that information down their throat, which was what I tried to do all those years.
Gotcha.
Like, I try to help people come back into that integrity, which wasn't really supportive because they didn't want to. Now I go, okay, here's the opportunity. If you want it, great. If you don't, I'm good. You're good anyway.
So how can people learn about their soul language? Like, what's the process of finding out? Because everybody else at home is like, well, what are my languages?
Right. So the process, and soul language has been called the Myers-Briggs of the soul, right? So
well, tell everybody what Myers-Briggs is.
It's an identification process about how you operate in the world. This
Okay.
is how you operate from the internal. So it takes a practitioner, because it's a metaphysical process, metaphysical mumbo jumbo again, everyone, right? But it involves something called muscle testing.
Oh.
Right, which means, in this case, a practitioner's body becomes the pendulum on that soul's behalf. So we do an energetic connection and we do a muscle testing. We go down some testing sheets and get 3 yes responses, and those are your languages. That process, the testing process, takes literally 3 minutes, not even.
Really? Can people's languages change?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, it would be very confusing for a human to...
I feel like my languages have changed.
They have not.
We should muscle test me.
They have not. No, they have not.
Yes, they have. I'm kidding. They haven't.
They
I just
haven't.
wanted to pretend.
That would be really confusing, because if you think about it, think of it as these are your energies from the divine to utilize in this lifetime to achieve whatever you want. These are your bus tickets to get you where you want to go.
Bus tickets.
Yeah, imagine that.
Dude, I fly everywhere.
I know, but okay, so they're your airplane tickets.
Thank you.
You're
I'm just
welcome.
saying words are everything
You're
for me.
welcome.
When you say divine, what do you mean?
God, universe, tree, Bob, God, cupcake, God, goo, whatever you call that big thing out there that is bigger than our human nature.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, I don't care what you call it. If you want to pray to a rock, go ahead.
You're like power to the rock.
Yeah. Just as long as you know that there's something out there that is supporting you and has your back, so you can feel this deep connection, so you don't feel as lonely as a human. Because most humans really feel alone all the time.
I know. I did an episode with Patrick Ignazi. You know Patrick.
Of course I know.
And I did an episode with him on loneliness and just a bunch of things. And I feel lonely a lot, even though I'm always surrounded by a lot of amazing people.
Right.
I think that, I don't know, cerebrally, I'm so in my head a lot, thinking that sometimes I forget where I'm at, and therefore I feel alone.
Yeah. Well, you are a master, right? So there's you always see the big picture, and you're highly innovative. And those kind of souls that have all of that can feel alone because they're always out in front. And they can feel like, oh, where's my community? Where are the people that understand me, right? But when you start to hang out with other masters and pioneers and innovators, you're like, oh, these people get me, right? And so it's just a matter of understanding in a bigger way where you fit in the world and how you attract those resources that support
It
that.
feels just like, I mean, I don't know, master or what I would be calling it, but, you know, there's a really big responsibility, I feel. And I always feel like I'm at risk of letting someone down.
Yeah, and that's the unconscious use of that language, right? That's the one part. This is where it becomes really interesting, because you can go in and okay, that's from programming. That's a belief. That's a lie I'm telling myself. And then really kind of transform that belief. So in that case, I would always say to a master or an innovator, okay, so you're only responsible for how you respond. And everyone else is playing the game. And so if they sign up to go with you on your journey and be part of their journey, they're responsible for that. You're only responsible for giving them the best opportunity you can. And then they have to play the game themselves. And that usually lets a big weight off someone's shoulder. Also, with people with that kind of responsibility thing, what they're really afraid of when we kind of go really deep down is they're going to let God down. And I always go, listen, you can't screw this up. Like, you're good.
Because technically he already knows you're going to do that.
Well, God knows everything that's going to happen if you go left, and everything you're going to go right. God doesn't know if you're going to go left or right, because you have free will. And that's our greatest gift in choice, right? And that's what people who are afraid of responsibility or having too much have to understand. Everyone has choice. You're not responsible for anyone else's choice.
What about the fate conversation then? Oh, it was fate. Ugh. Fate then knows, well, let's just talk about it. Fate knows if it's like, oh, well, it must have been fate.
Yeah.
That would suggest that somebody does know if you're going left or right.
Right. And I think that's a cop-out.
So you don't agree that fate, nothing's predetermined?
No.
Really?
I don't. I think that people use divine timing, fate, past lives for not to take a choice in their life, not to respond from a place of consciousness. I think that's a cop-out. And it actually kind of quite annoys me when people go, oh, it must have been divine timing. I'm like, no. Look at all the choices that you made to sabotage yourself. Or look at the belief system that's actually not supporting what you want. And let's talk about that instead of just sloughing it off to divine, timing so you feel good.
So when we're up in heaven, for this interview, we'll call it, well, I don't know anyone who doesn't call it heaven, even though somehow that word stuck, but the God universe, but everybody goes, oh, heaven, right? Somehow that's okay, but everybody wants to call the divine higher power something different, but they're all living in the same area. Exactly. So they all like the subdevelopment that the person's created, right?
Like they all like the address.
Yeah, exactly. They like the address. It's just who the builder was is up for debate. Okay, fine, fair enough. So wouldn't that be then fate of what we say we want to do? What's the difference between saying what we want to do in our next lifetime to suggest there are next times, or for those that don't believe in reincarnation, there still needs to be, I don't think there's any debate that there's a plan.
There's a vision.
There's a vision. There's some sort of meeting about what happens when you come down to earth.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that you sit down at what I call the soul table, and you go, okay, here's what I want to experience this time around. And I don't think it's detail oriented. What I think it is I want to experience great freedom this time around. Okay, so what are energies you're going to need to do that? What's the soul like to do that? Who are you going to need to attract? What does that possibly look like? Right? My greatest desire is freedom. That's what I want to achieve. So when I'm feeling free, I am living my life. Like I am just so happy. And I think that big kind of vision is really about an experience rather than the details.
How did you find out what your greatest desire was?
I kept asking the question, and I kept going, okay, what of all of the best times of my life, if I was to kind of put them in the energetic lineup and strip them down, what do they have all in common? And it was freedom. Just like my greatest challenge is self-worth and failure. Looked at all of my challenges, what do they all have in common? Oh yeah, self-worth and failure. And I know that if I'm feeling failure or I'm in lack of worth, then I'm not free. And I need to turn inward and kind of rearrange that.
So your definition of freedom is not necessarily you're free to go about the country. Right. Your definition of freedom is what then?
My definition of freedom, which you're actually part of the definition, which is kind of odd, is that feeling of when we were driving from LA to Santa Barbara in the car, the convertible, on the sunny day. That is my feeling of freedom. And if it doesn't feel like that, I know I'm not feeling free.
So it's not the physical driving, right? She's talking about when we were literally on a road trip and we didn't kill anybody like Thelma and Louise.
That's good. Yeah.
And if we were, certainly
he
wasn't as cute as Brad Pitt. But, you know, so that it's just your freedom is anything that evokes that comfiness, that warm hug of a feeling of what you experienced when we were driving down the coast.
Ultimate kind of the sun in your face, the wind in your hair, that total not a care in the world, that in your zone. That's
not like the drive across the George Washington Bridge.
No, with the water. No, not like that.
Do you want to tell everyone that story?
No,
that's a good story.
I do not want to tell everyone that story.
Well, I'll tell it.
Do you want to tell the mattress story too? Because that's a good one too. Also, water story.
I'm just saying we might have been along the George Washington Bridge and I was like looking out and I was making the joke from like Caddyshack or something saying, I don't think the heavy stuff's going to fall down for quite a while yet. And I looked out and I'm driving, by the way, but we're driving fast enough that I'm paying attention, but slow enough that I can still be a goofball. Yeah. And I hit a manhole. And we're going to a meeting, one of these meetings where she's like, pass the pen, right? So I'm all dressed up and I'm like, and I know who my role is in this meeting. So I have to be like soft and lovely and whatever because you're the barracuda in the meeting. So all of a sudden I hit this pothole and my joke turns on me and through the window comes
icky
this
water, slushy, grossy stuff.
I'm nauseous just no joke. The taste of the water, of the puddle water of New York City, Hudson River, manhole, George Washington Bridge. Yeah.
And then mascara running down.
Big time.
Face. Blotchiness, all of that.
And I wore like a cream, like a cream color white, and it was all like, and you know what I thought? I can't wait to go to the meeting and tell everyone what happened to me. And that's the basis of this show, right? Is that I'm not embarrassed by this.
No.
Oh my gosh,
in fact,
thank you.
You live for it.
The tragedy.
Because it makes a good story.
Right?
Yes.
I love a good story.
That's the same day where you thought that a cop was following you and we went across 4 lanes to get off the highway.
He was following me. He thought I was speeding.
Which you were.
Maybe. And I thought, I just really channeled my inner Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah. And I thought it would be fun to see if I could outrun a cop.
Yeah, me and the Jesus Christ handle were really close that day.
And so I got off an exit, and because I just wanted to see if he was really following me. He got off the exit.
He did get off. When we lost him through your other...
Because I'm Roscoe P. Coltrane.
I know. Wait, you're the cop guy?
Well, he kept up with the Dukes of Hazzard, brother. They were all excellent drivers. So I'm just saying, I lost him. Okay. He probably wasn't following me. So before any of my law enforcement family or friends are going to email me and saying that I broke the law, I didn't because it was all in my head. They weren't really following me.
I know they were. I outran. I know. It was great.
It was awesome. All right. So why don't we tell people how we met?
So I call you on the phone and I pitch you. And you're like, well, why don't you come down? And
Wait, pitch me? What do you mean pitch me?
I was offering you a segment idea.
And where was I?
You were at The View.
Don't leave the viewer behind.
I'm sorry.
So I was a TV producer at The View.
So you were at The View.
And every day we would need to get ideas and inspiration. So we didn't just come up with it on our own. There's a world of PR people out there that would pitch us and call us and email us and text us.
And I was one of the few that you would actually call back.
Right. No, I was. You were. There's a lot of people that would pitch the show And this happens in PR.
Yeah.
Like, you're so busy working that you don't necessarily know the media outlet that you're trying to get your clients into.
That happens
Which,
a
lesson
lot.
number one, watch the show, read the magazines, listen to the podcast.
And now when you pitch in social media, read their profile. Like,
yeah, please.
Do some research. I got offered to talk to somebody about, because I had my own gym the other day. I was like, did you not read my profile?
Jim. Maybe you're friends with somebody named Jim, but not GYM.
No.
So, okay.
So you invite me to come and watch the show.
Because I booked one of your segments.
No, this was before.
Oh.
So
I really was nice.
You were so nice. So I come, not only that, but you also said, bring your staff. So I brought 3 or 4 people. And you come out.
I'm lovely in this situation.
I know. It's one of your best stories.
Oh my gosh.
So you come out in this gorgeous pink fluffy sweater. And you come up and you're like, hey, and you hug me. And
I'm a hugger.
You're a hugger, and I am not.
Shocking.
And I've gotten better over the years.
Yes.
But you hugged me, and I was like, finally, she was not letting go, so I had to hug back.
Well, once I know someone doesn't want to hug me, and
you
I'm already
stay like
hugging,
a death grip of control.
Dude, now I'll practically make out with you at that point.
So I missed that opportunity.
Yeah, well, there's after the show.
So you leave. And everyone's like, oh my God, how do you know her? And I was like, I just met the freak today. I mean, literally.
She called me a freak.
And then.
I'm glad you got nicer over the years.
Yes, I did. And then you called me to tell me what you were doing, your next step with the Idea Network. You were starting a whole firm just based on ideas.
Just based on ideas. I created a whole company, I swear to God, just based on my ideas.
Which is great.
So random, but it worked.
It totally worked. And I hung up. I was like, I'll call you back. And I hung up and I marched it. This is where my tenacity works.
Yes.
Because I can say something back then and still now. I can say something with such a declaration that people are like, oh, okay. Even if it's not true, they're like, oh, okay. You have to hire Erin Saxton. She's starting this whole new venture, and she's a producer, and I think it will give us the leg up because we're going to create segments directly from the producer's mouth. And before long, you were part of the team for a while. And then
I was your employee.
You were my.
I have to say, our lunch breaks were awful. I want to tell you.
And here's why. I will tell it, because I worked like a dog and did take lunch breaks.
And I didn't. Yeah. I mean, I worked like a dog, but here I give you quality in little bits of time.
I understand.
Why not give me a lunch break?
Because that's not my nature.
We finally got a TV in the break room, and I was like, please, can we watch Law and Order? Just anything. And like Law and Order, you have half hour. She'd give me a half hour, so I'd either get the murder or I'd see the second part where I'd get the person got convicted.
Right.
I never got the hour, like lunch hour.
Sick.
I was sick.
As a dog.
I know.
And you said, hold on. And you came back. And you was like, okay, let's do it.
Right.
And then
I hired you for myself.
And our agreement was on a placemat.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history.
I know. So we don't work together now, but we're best friends.
Yes.
So it's better than working.
Totally.
So I was your boss. You were my boss. And then we were colleagues and associates. So we've done everything.
Yeah. And we still brainstorm,
Oh, well, my gosh, we brainstorm all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's not with anything other than just...
No, but our next brainstorm is very important.
Very important.
Do you want to know what it is?
Are we going to videotape it?
No. Well, we could, but it's for my 50th birthday party.
Oh.
Yeah.
So which is in November.
Yeah. So
mine's in February.
I know.
Your birthday parties are always a little weird, though. I love you, but you had us roller derby one time.
That was a great birthday party.
I don't know. You gave me the name of like Storm or Thunder.
Storm Chaser, and Eric was Storm.
I know.
Great names.
Anyway. Well, listen, we can obviously talk for hours, and I'm sure everyone's going to want us to, but I'm going to cut this one off short and say thank you for being here.
Thank you for everything.
So I'm pretty sure now the takeaways are people are going to want to know what their soul languages are. So let's educate everybody, at least give them some areas and where they can go and learn more information.
Sure. So I don't do this anymore, but I'd be happy to offer it for your viewers.
Oh, thank you.
They can go to soullanguage.us. They can log on to the services section and sign up for a free 15-minute discovery session where one of their soul languages will be identified as my gift. No agenda. But you have to mention Jersey Girl in the comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does it matter which soul language? Like you need all three.
You need all three, but you can
But
really...
just having one already is a huge shift in your life.
It will be, you can create so much change with just tweaking little things.
That's great.
And I think
Thank you for doing that.
Oh, you're welcome. And I think people try to do it all with, transformation instead of just focusing on one thing and really practicing it. And so we'll give you down and dirty tips to start using.
Down and dirty. I like that.
If it's not practical, you're not going to use it. And soul language is extremely practical.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anything that has down and dirty in it, I'm all about.
I thought you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you.
You're my
too.
best friend.
I'm right back at you.
For more information, check out Jen's social media handles and profile, and I will see you all soon. Thanks for watching That Girl from Jersey. Have a great day.